picture this. You're a relatively new Team Fortress 2 player, let's say somewhere from 5 to 500 hours of in-game experience. But then, while you're playing a match of, say, Dust Bowl, Upward, or any other weird-ass community map, you hear a sound. You haven't heard that sound before, but then you look at the top left and you see that someone has challenged you to something called a duel. Now, naturally, you want to defend your honor, so you accept it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? And then from there, one of two things happen. You guys either don't find each other for the entire game, or they find you and eviscerate you. Oh, and if you're playing on a map that never ends, one of them just leaves because they're bored. But then, after that, you receive an item in your inventory that's very similar to the mercenary badge you received near the start of your journey. The Bronze Dueling Badge. Now this badge has been given to over 1 million people, so it's safe to say that many people have had the experience that I just stated. And after getting it, you may think, let me do a couple more duels so I can increase the rank on this, but then you find out that you can't do duels for free, and then this is the point where most people give up. Like 95% of people just say, well, you know what, I don't care, so I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see anything. While using their Bronze Dueling Badge is a bit of a different flavoured version to their Mercenary Badge. But what about that other 5%? Well, they take the time to look up how you actually rank up and figure out how many duels you need to get a Silver Dueling Badge. Figuring out that you only need 24? That's not very difficult. Yeah, you need 240 duel wins to get this to even Silver. And then 250 on top of that for Gold, and then 250 on top of that for Platinum. And this is where most people, even within that 5%, will just go, you know what, I don't care, I'll just get some cool hats at a different time. But then, there are the crazy bastards out of them, the 5% within the 5%, who dedicate themselves to getting the Platinum Dueling Badge. Also, one would think, because what they actually do is they invite a friend to a private server, or go to a modal map that ends the match really quickly, like Arena, Versus Saxton, Hail, or Dodgeball, and then essentially farm their way to the Platinum Dueling Badge in a few hours, just so they could go, hey guys, aren't I cool, look at my badge, after not putting in any of the work to get it. But then, there are the crazy bastards within the crazy bastards within the crazy bastards who want to go all of the way and want to get all of those duel wins legitimately. I used to be in the crowd I explained previously, but I started to feel kinda bad that I had a Platinum Dueling Badge with nothing to show for it. So, on a random day in the latter half of 2022, I decided to put on my boxing gloves and get 750 legitimate duel wins. And only then could I wear the Platinum Dueling Badge. I mean, it doesn't seem too hard, does it? There's no penalty for losing, and if you just throw yourself at the wall over and over and over and over again, you'll eventually get to Platinum, right? This would prove to be a combination of the most noble and stupid mistake I have ever made in my entire life. Let me explain why. When I started, it just so happened to be smack dab in the middle of the 2022 iteration of Scream Fortress. And I actually had a game plan going in to basically utilize all of the abilities that Scream Fortress gives me now that it's providing players to those servers. First of all, I would only ever queue for one map. with that one map being Carnival of Carnage. And the great reasons why were the games could potentially go really, really, really quick, or take a really long time depending on the skill of the server, and sometimes you kind of need sprinkles of both. The second reason was because it has spells, and no shit, it's a Halloween map. But this is going to be really important for a strat I talk about later on. And finally, if I was down on points when the map ended, the bumper car sections were my jam. I'm actually really experienced when it comes to controlling the bumper cars and getting kills with them. So that gave me a last Hail Mary if I was down by any points. Let me talk about the one strat that I relied on early on in this challenge, that I like to call the crit Ebola. First of all, pick Scout. Second of all, equip the Criticola. Nothing else matters, so just go for whatever you fancy. Step 3, go to any spellbook and throw away the spells until you get either the Hellstorm, the one that picks you up, or most importantly, the Fireball. The Fireball is the one we really want. And now, step 4, make sure you set a duel to someone using a light class. Step 5, drink the Criticola, walk up to them, tap H, that's what I'm talking about, and it one-shots them. Yeah. Big thanks to Great Blue for teaching me that little trick. With this, I probably got so many dirty duel wins from people that didn't even know you could do this. And it made Scout one of my most played classes when doing these duels. But what if I was playing a map that didn't have any spells? Well, I still had a go-to Scout loadout if shit was hitting the fan, that I like to call the Dipshit Scout. Essentially, pick any primary, but make sure you have both the Mad Milk and the Fan War equipped. The reason why is specifically because of a quirk for how duels work, because even though they obviously register kills as points, they also register you getting assists. And if anyone knows how jank assists are in this game, you're quickly gonna figure out that that is a recipe for complete chaos, complete disaster, and complete despair. But fortunately, with this one loadout, we can actually take advantage of that, because if you chuck down a Man Melt or slap someone with the Fan of War, if they still have that effect when they die, you will get the assist, and therefore you will get the point. I won so many games by resorting to the Dipshit Scout method, throwing down the milk or slapping them with the Fan of War, and then just waiting until they ended up getting picked off by someone else. And yes, it's dirty, but I needed 750 of these duel wins, so I think I'm justified in playing dirty. If you've been paying close attention to the footage, you may have also noticed that I've been playing the group keep a lot, and there's two reasons why. A, melee combat is one of the things I'm best at in TF2, and it also helps my dipshit scout strategy really flourish. And B, the rounds are always going to be super duper short, meaning that if you get a lead, it won't be long until you're able to start an entirely new duel. I'm pretty sure the group keep is probably the best map for dueling, but I still found more success with Carnival of Carnage, so maybe it's a 50-50 thing. Or maybe I'm just weird. You may have also noticed that my HUD was different in the last two clips I showed. And that's because, for my bronze and silver stages in this challenge, pretty much all of the clips for them ended up getting wiped, because they existed on a drive that crashed. Although a couple of them survived after being transferred to a drive before it happened. It was an instant thing, so them surviving is merely a coincidence. Although these old clips also showcase two different strats I would whip out every now and then. Firstly, Thermal Thruster. Just the Thermal Thruster. It is so good at putting you in a spot where nobody expects you that I'm honestly surprised the Thermal Thruster isn't like an A tier or a top tier pyro weapon. Like, this shit is insane. Everyone else can see what I see, right? The second and more gimmicky playstyle that is showcased only worked on the group keep, even though it could technically be used for all the other maps. But basically, pick Soldier and then give him both a banner and a half Zatoichi. I'd personally recommend the Conch because of how useful movement speed is when you're in a melee battle. From here, wait until you see someone who's using the half Zatoichi. Then tap them, and that will more often than not completely fill your banner bar. And then once that's been filled, activate it, but then wait until you're close to the person you're dueling, and then release the banner. I say this because banners have insane priority over the assist system, and even if it didn't help anyone at all, if they're within the range of the banner, you will get the assist for every kill that happens. So, yeah, it was a bit more of a cheesy strategy than the scout thing, but anything to spice things up I'll take. But yeah, when I say a few clips survived, I really only mean a few, because almost all of the clips got wiped. I say almost because for one of my duels, I just so happened to run into another YouTube channel who was doing their own video series about completing every single achievement. And that was Dutch YouTuber Purple Planet. And so, because of that one duel that we did between each other, well, two, because one of them was a tie and one of them was a win, I actually have a couple little scraps of footage of what I used to do in this era. I didn't record any fireball kills I got, because I didn't actually get any regular fireball kills in this match, but I did get 1 point by doing the classic throw down a hellstorm before everyone gets moved trick, which Purple Planet especially liked.
Don't be melee. Okay. Okay.
Anyway, let's move away from talking about strategies and talk about my progress for this. Because early on, the Carnival of Carnage strategy really helped me. And it was pretty much all I played to get from the Bronze Dueling Badge to the Silver Dueling Badge. But of course, Scream Fortress would be ending very soon, so I couldn't rely on Carnival of Carnage forever. But then again, that's where De Groot Keep comes in. So I spent a lot of the time for my duels, easily about 2/3 of this section, in De Groot Keep. And because I preferred doing it in community servers, there was a very good chance you'd see me in a community server for De Groot Keep if you were playing around November or December of 2022. But then, into the early days of 2023, after I just about passed the threshold to get to the Gold Dueling Badge, my progress started to stagnate a little bit as I started to take a bit of a break from the dueling minigames. That small break lasted for months, and then about a year, and then I decided, you know what, I don't really like the position TF2's going, and so I decided to take my final game of TF2 before I properly hibernated. And this was done in its own video, which is still kinda true if we're strictly talking about casual mode. But this clip right here is a perfect example for why the assist system was total AIDS, especially on Pyro. Oh, I gotta stop, let's go! How the I have more clips of this that I'm not going to include in the video, but trust me, this would happen so many times in the final stretch. So with that, having not reached the Platinum Dueling Badge, but having still gotten a lot, I hibernated from TF2. And my return came with the SDK update, as I slowly put back my item collection piece by piece as I sold it, thinking I'd never play TF2 again. But of course, Gaben had to bless us with the SDK update, so thanks for that. But then I noticed that that Platinum Dueling Badge that still hadn't been avenged was still just kind of sitting there in my inventory, not doing anything. And I still decided to not use it as my loadout and continued my dueling badge journey. But something felt a bit different this time. Even though I already passed the halfway mark, it felt so much more daunting than when it did when I started out, despite having the numbers for how many duels I needed to do well under 250 at this point, because that was still a lot. And considering that I was jumping in the same community servers over and over and over again, people started to look at my shtick and started to get kinda sick of me always sending duels, so I needed a bit of a Hail Mary if I wanted to go to the end of this. And that's when the true quick play movement happened. I'm not going to say anything about it here because I already have a video series on it right now, but to cut it really short, I convinced people to run far more vanilla servers thanks to the Steam networking update, and they all united under a tag called True Quick Play. So, watch those videos if you want to make more vanilla community servers. Wink, 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 wink. And because I was putting these clips on a stable hard drive, that actually means that I have these moments saved. So, enjoy the incoming clip dump from the last stretch of my dueling journey. For a little while, I've been getting some wins, some losses, and everything seemed kind of fine. But there was just one problem with this. I try to play TF2 as casually as possible, and after trying to get to the Platinum Dueling Badge for so long, I started taking the duels way too seriously. Like, getting overly heated due to not getting the result I wanted levels of heated. And considering that I was running under a tight-knit community at this point, people started to notice.
Alright, cap it.
I really did
there we go.
lose a fucking duel because a sniper who wasn't even paying attention to me would look and tried to
Okay.
Oh,
I'll get
fucking vaccinate! Okay, hold on. Where was my assist? I was the only other person that damaged him. The only other person.
Now, I can't say this was anyone's fault but my own, but yeah, this doesn't really look good on me. But regardless of this, good day after bad day and good day after bad day, I still soldiered on. But before I get to the very last stretch, there is one moment I'd like to talk about. So, I joined a true quick play server that's fairly empty, you know, there's not many players in it, and it's a server running Cough Viaduct. And I start playing it for a little bit, and I challenge this guy called Bob. But then, after the first shot he makes, I very quickly realize something. Hang on. This guy's a cheating son of a bitch! Because this guy was actually a guy called Fish, who's been hell-bent on shoving aimbots into the true quick play servers just to piss everyone off. Although it's very easy to kick these and ban these when you see them, but I decided, considering my pride was on the line, to just this once try and take him out. But of course, he had X-ray, so he could see everywhere. The first match, I nearly actually ended up beating him on my first try with Bonk, but I got a little bit too cocky and I lost. Then in the second round, I tried to coordinate some stuff with the medic, but I didn't have any visual indicators, so he just walked around, tapped me, and I lost. But then in the third round, I had the idea to wait until he was capping the point. Hold on.
Alert. The control point is being contested.
No! Yes! 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 If anyone ever asked me what duel win was the sweetest from all of this, it was that. I even got a second kill. And you know what? I feel another Ruba coming on. Now! You know, that strat doesn't really work as well when you've already been tapped. I already figured that out about duels ages ago, buddy! So, yeah, I just wanted to highlight that because I actually ended up beating a cheater for one of these duel wins, but we soldiered on. More anguish, more pain, and more rubbed assists later, I slowly started getting closer and closer to that 750 duel win goal. And I also started to notice how surprisingly good I was at Battle Medic. Like, I don't know why I can aim the Blutsauger this well. Like, seriously, someone has to tell me to stop. This isn't how you play Medic. No, this isn't how you're supposed to play the game. Stop! Stop! But the duel wins would end up increasing more and more. 50 to go. 40 to go. 30 to go. 20 to go. And then, I decided to do something a little special for the last 10. You see, there are 9 mercenaries in the game, and the game will always track which ones you played the least to which ones you played the most. So, for the last 9 out of 10, I decided to do a class-locked duel for every single class, from least played to most played, just so I could say I won a class-locked duel with all of them. With the only rule being, if I challenge someone to a duel, I then had to reduel them if I lost, unless they leave. Surely this wouldn't be a bad idea! But yeah, I went into this leg of the challenge, and I started with Medic. Now, like I said before, I am surprisingly good at Battle Medic. Now, 7-0 good? I don't know. I think that's the thing you guys will have to probably debate with yourself. I don't know. What? Medic was down, Soldier was next. I know what I'm about to say is a little bit of a controversial take, but I never really got into playing Soldier. I think it was probably because of my PTSD from being a heavy main and how a lot of Soldier would just boop, turn around the corner, boop, turn around the corner, boop, turn around the corner, and it drove me insane! So that resulted in him being my second least played class. So when I did the duel, I noticed that I had the direct hit equipped, and while this worked for the first hit, I decided to be a little bit more creative and went with the base jumper airstrike combo, just so I could, you know, play with that for a little bit, because I actually really love the airstrike. And even though I did get about 3 kills and was very close to getting a domination, I did end up getting tapped on the back by, you know, the Beggar's Bazooka being the Beggar's Bazooka. But still, we take those. 3-1, and now we move on to my next least played class, which was the Engineer. I was very surprised to find this out, because I actually really like playing the Engineer, but no, apparently he's my 7th least played class, so I guess I gotta do the Engineer now. Now, in the duel itself, we didn't actually see each other for pretty much the entire game outside of 1 lucky encounter from me and 1 lucky encounter from him. However, I ended up getting the win because my mini-sentry ended up tapping him with the guy I just ended up dueling, the WhatsApp, tapping him with the Beggar's Bazooka and then granting me the point. But now comes the biggest make or break class in this entire stretch of the challenge. Spy. I don't like playing Spy. It's probably because of how weak of a class he is, but I figured out how truly miserable it was very early on, and so I didn't put in that many clueless free-to-play playing Spy hours into the game. But I had to be very careful with who I picked here, because we had just switched to a new map, so I didn't have a chance to see the leaderboard. So I had to make sure that I picked someone who not only wasn't a Spy main, but also wasn't very good at the game. And my gut told me to go for this guy with a funny name. That funny name being Daniel Balls. Now, how bad could Daniel Balls be? Oh no. Oh no! Oh no! Well, here we go. Holy shit, nice tracking there! Yeah, that was a bit. Still thinking with stock though, because of the funny big gun. Oh my god! Right. Jesus! How loud are your headphones, Daniel? Woo! Come on. Time it just right. Oh shit! Wait, I don't have any HP. The scout dying almost immediately, that quickly. Something. Really, Phil? Fleekoot, really? When I got tapped once by him, but I was in a good spot. Really? Dead ringer. Use that ammo. Yes! Dead ringer. Oh my god, that was some incredible tracking. I'm not even mad. That was a masterclass in like fucking bouldering. Oh, part of me was thinking I could have backstabbed you before the timer ended, but we just didn't start the duel quick enough. Oh hi. What? I did not think you would have checked that. God damn it. No! If I want to remind myself why I stopped, I'll just use clips like that. Because remember, you're not just dueling against someone, there's an enemy team as well. Undo your disguise, mate. Wait! Are you... you can see invisible players recorded.
You failed.
What? You know what's weird? That's only the second time that's ended one of my duels early. Yeah, after those couple rounds of CBT, we then decided to move over to Asteroid. Now, while I do love Asteroid as a map, and I feel like it was criminally underused by Valve, there's just one problem with this. To beat a spy who's this good, I need a round that's really short, and the rounds for Asteroid are...
You're alright, Doc.
Fucking really? You know what I just did? You know what I did before that, Daniel? Daniel, you know what I did before that? I got overhealed from the other fucking medic, so I was gonna use that to basically brute force my way into a kill, but then... Wait, no, you're using the ambi. That was an actual headshot. Okay, never mind. I would have liked to be at the spawn when that happened. Oh, it's you. Uncloak. Jesus Christ, dude! What is your strafing? I see you now. Ah! on. That's my go-to bit when someone tells me to shut the fuck up. Yep, I heard that unclip, buddy. Heard that unclip. But holy shit, I'm actually leading now. Yeah, I deserve that. I deserve that. I see those bubbles! I see those bubbles! Yeah, I'm gonna play a lot more defensive from here. I ain't taking risks. Look, I just want to move on to the next class, and you do too, okay? Ah! I zoned out. I zoned out. And there appears the random god tier revolver aim, which like, and people wonder why I'm not going aggressive on Daniel. I wonder why. Yep, yeah, you know what? Nah, I'm just gonna disconnect and find another one. I'm sorry, I can't beat you, Daniel Balls. It's been a fucking hour, and the server decided to go to Asteroid. Look, can we just walk the vote on a map that's like quicker, like my Go Hydro? Oh, of course it was him for one time. I fucking. You know something? I actually made a rule for this part. That being, if you duel someone during one of these spy class things, you have to beat that person no matter how many tries it takes. And at the beginning I went, this guy has a funny name. There's no way he's gonna be the top scorer. Oh my god! Oh yeah, the first thing I see when my spectator camera appears up is Daniel Balls getting dunked on by a heavy who starts dominating him. Thanks, game, I really needed that! How did you immediately figure out it was me, and why do you have a pocket now? Fucking there's a scout! Do you fucking mind? I am trying to get to your robot! How do you track every single point to try and be a little bit sneaky by going, oh, he's gonna check for the wall or the corner, or maybe someone down the stairs? How do you predict my brain that fucking accurately? Jesus Christ on a bicycle! And now I know it's just a game, and I don't need the rules to play. Maybe it's happy, maybe it's sad, but you can choose the way to play. I am. Did that health kit literally respawn in front of me after I walked behind myself to try and reach it? Like, it literally spawned in front of me after I walked over where it would have been. I'm sorry? There's a medic over there. Let's see if I'm the first guy to go down anyway. Yeah! Every fucking time! And of course, they're not interested in the... Okay, finally. Finally, we can switch fucking back! No! Okay. Behind you, sniper!
Control point is being captured.
Boy, how I would have been loved to have been alive to do that.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
Where even is he? It's been multiple minutes! Do it. Up here. Oh shit, he appeared. Please, 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 please! Who even gives a shit anymore? Nice random ass tapping! Nice tribalman shib! Nice bleed damage! Nice random fucking encounter!
What's so funny about bleed?
You planned that, Daniel. You were in talks with everyone else in the server to tell them, hey, shoot here, it'll be really funny. Hey, give him bleed, it will be really funny. Hey, I can see him now. Boop. You fucking planned all that, didn't you?
Jimmy, End in 60 seconds.
You think a man happens to fall like that? No, he organized it.
You know what? I have been on Spy for too long to be rational.
I understand. Spy, it breaks you.
And you know something, you know something that annoys me the most. On the match I was doing it, I was thinking, oh, you know what? I'm expecting Spy to be like this whole, oh, don't worry, it's gonna be one of those things where like, oh, it's scary going in, but the person doesn't really know what they're doing, so I can get a quick one and it's fine. But no, I just so happen to randomly pick the guy who fucking tops game! Rage is a really weird thing, isn't it? It's something that all of us feel at some point in our lives, and yet, in the eyes of the beholder, there are only two ways it can be perceived. Either with amusement due to how loud someone's getting and potentially how much shit they're breaking, or with fear. Fear for someone's own physical and mental health, or how seriously they're taking something that shouldn't even matter. And in this moment, right here, as someone who quite often gets completely blinded by his own rage, even I knew I needed to change something. So, from this point onwards, I stopped using voice chat. I didn't touch it. Didn't tap the button once. Specifically so I could hopefully bring myself back to Earth a little bit quicker. And I also took a little bit of a break, just to sit alongside a wall, stare into space, and really think about things, just so I could calm myself down a little more. And what was the first thing that happened when I came back? No. No, I won't press it. I'm not gonna press it. So yeah, after playing in complete silence, I wasn't able to find him for the entirety of that game. The next round started up, and in that moment, I'm certain one god or another looked down on me and said, hey, mate, look, we'll give you the duel win for this, just don't do this to yourself, because this happened. Naturally, I stayed near spawn for the rest of the match because I did not want to go through that shit again. Spy down, sniper next. Sniper went off without a hitch as I got a lucky long shot with the Huntsman and nearly got a second point but just barely missed out on landing that headshot near the end of the round. Sniper down, demo next. Only 4 classes to go. I just so happened to challenge someone who said in the VC that they're really bad at Demo Man. And I managed to get a bit of a lucky break because I ended up running into them with the Cortana, because this was actually a revert server, tapping them as I was going through, and then I didn't end up seeing them for the whole game after that, meaning that I got a pretty easy game for the demo. So now only 3 remained. The next one on the agenda, and my third most played class, was Scout. For Scout, I decided to run the Milk and Fan of War combo once again, so the Dipshit Scout. And that actually ended up helping me because I got an early kill, and then shut down some Mad Milk to get a cheeky little assist kill. And that cheeky little assist kill helped tip me over the edge, as I ended up getting killed from my spawn by the guy I was dueling. So that was a 1-point margin I ended up winning the duel by. 2 classes to go. Even though Pyro may be my main class, they're still currently my second most played class because they haven't quite caught up to the hours of my original main, Heavy. So I'll get to Heavy last, and Pyro I'll do here. Pyro is lucky to be another steamroll, as I got an early kill on this Flog Pyro, but then right at the end I got a little cocky, they got some good positioning, and I melted. But right at the end of the game, I found them in position, got the perfect jetpack jump, and was about to burn them with only a few moments left on the clock. Force of nature. God fucking damn it. We would then have a match where poor Loxos got to a pretty early lead thanks to this little play right here. And then right when I was thinking I could get some momentum, well, Loxos was leading for the majority of the game, but I had these brief moments where I was getting closer and closer and closer and closer, and then they popped the Flog right over here. And so I stepped back, waited for them to move back, waited for my team to whittle on. Soldier, why the fuck would you do that? And then they left the game. Hey Siri, how do I make an atomic bomb for under 20 quid? We then switched maps to Gold Rush, where I would send a duel request to Jerby. Jerby? Jarby? How the fuck do you say this name? Why is there an explanation? This one wouldn't be anywhere near as taxing, as I noticed them walking up some stairs, used the thermal thruster, switched to my newly equipped Dragon's Fury, and melted them. I did want to get another point, but there were too many mini-sentries and too many enemies. So I did. 1 class to go. My original main and the guy that brought me into the game. Heavy. Now, I actually lost my first duel, but I noticed something interesting about the guy I was dueling. He was only going melee. I knew what I had to do. Just for that 1 round, I took out my original hamshank that started it all. And then from there, this happened. Seriously, why would they melee duel with the Fists of Steel of all things? That's a noob trap that never goes well when you're melee dueling someone who can only use melee. So yeah, with that, every class duel was complete. But wait, hold on. That only got me to 749. What about the last one? Well, there's still one more class I've yet to talk about. But just before that, I wanted to make something special out of this final match. So of everyone who was still on the server, I asked them to pick a random number from 1 to 20. And the first person to pick the number I was thinking would get a one-way ticket to this finale. It took a while, but eventually, So Webb was able to do it. And then after I confirmed that he was able to show up, I only had one thing to say. I pressed the V button for the first time in hours and simply said, "Bring me Saxton!" And that's it. It's fucking over. With that, I have the Platinum Dueling Badge. It's over. It's over. So that was it. After 2 years of pain, misery, anguish, despair, and even a couple sprinkles of self-harm, I had finally gotten the Platinum Dueling Badge legit. And would I recommend for people to go for this if they like the dueling minigames? Fuck no! Dueling games are fun when done in like short bursts, but if you do multiple of them in a row just to try and reach a certain threshold, you will go insane. And this isn't even me doing the whole YouTuber thing of, oh, this thing is really difficult, but I bet no one else is gonna do it, only for people to immediately do it just a few hours later like a really good speedrun or something. No, this is objectively taxing. I had to treat these dueling minigames a bit like a second job. A second job that was bringing down my enjoyment of the actual base game of TF2. And as proof of this, I actually played a few games of this immediately after getting the Platinum Dueling Badge. And you know something? It's the most fun I've had in TF2 in a long time. Not just because the matches were fun, but just from the knowledge that this shit was finally over! It was impacting my enjoyment on the game because it was affecting how casually I could actually take it. Because I always remembered that I'd have to come back to this because I wanted to get that badge. But now that I've got it, I don't have to worry about it anymore. It's a thing of the past. And now I can actually start having fun with the game again. And so, now that it is all over, there's one more thing I want to show you. Let me show you my Steam history to show you every duel I did since this challenge started. Yes, every single one of them, because Steam actually keeps track of them, which is nice. And then maybe once you've seen all of them, you'll reconsider going for this badge yourself. regret during all of that was that for the final Saxton battles, I forgot to turn on Halloween mode. No, my green fire! My green fire's leaving me!